Hello, everyone. If I can have your attention. Go ahead and get started. Pledge of allegiance to the flag. I'd like to remind everyone that this is the City Council special meeting and covering business. It's not a town hall, so I will, however, allow public comment after we've gone through the list of things that are on the agenda. So I'd like to convene this meeting on Thursday, this special council meeting on Thursday, August 25th at 6:04 p.m. Beginning with an update on the interim city manager search. Kylie has been working on this, so I'd like to ask her to take a few minutes and just kind of fill us in. The only resume that I've received is the one from Mr. Green. So were there any other people who?
With the current climate of city managers being hard to locate, interims are just as hard, but again, with any recruitment, that's kind of the trend right now. I did talk to another interim possibility that was, the name was given to me through one of the interims candidates off the League of Oregon Cities website. So that was nice. So I called him today and explained the situation, and so he will be sending a proposal as well. So, and he is available, and we'll look at what's going on. So I just used the same information we sent to the first candidate.
Can you tell us what city her currently resides in?
I don't know. No. The interims are from all over the place. So they, I did tell them it's remote, but we do want them in the office 1 day a week and part-time for now. And with, so we should be able to compare him to have hopefully 2 proposals to look at for the interim, if that's the way we want to go. I've also reached out to recruiters for the full city manager position, and of the 3 I've reached out to, one has withdrawn, doesn't have the capacity because again, they're full recruiting right now for positions. So I will continue to do that. So, and if I find any other contacts or leads through any other interims, I can follow that as well. But I'm hoping we get somebody in place or an action plan in place for the future quickly.
Let me ask the council, in terms of time for getting this person on board, what would you see by the end of the month or the first part of September or what? I just kind of want to have some idea of when we will have.
You mean like for an interim meeting?
Yeah, for the interim, when we will be able to kind of meet with them or interview.
Okay, well, my thought is, I'm just wondering if there's, if we have to be so quick on this, because I kind of, I'm thinking, over the last couple of days, I mean, we have Kelly running his crew. We have Jay and Blake running the fire department, and the only people we have in the city hall now is Sue and Kylie, who know everything about what's going on in the city. So I don't know that we're just, under the gun here to get somebody in there. I mean, it was a priority, so that's why we were moving quickly on this. No, I mean, no, I'm just saying, is it really, things are running pretty good here. Do we need to just jump right in? I mean, well, there's some things that we are going to require having a city manager on board, especially when it comes to the supplemental budget. That is something that we're going to need some help on. I guess tying this in, I know we're not quite to this part yet, but this is what I was thinking. We had several candidates back when we did the interviews for Juliet for city manager before, and the top 3 was Juliet, and then Terry, and then the guy from Idaho, Brent Carver. And they're actually interested in re-interviewing.
Well, when they go through the process, they'll have an opportunity to interview, but I don't.
No, I know. So what I'm saying though is, you know, we've got two candidates that are interested if we open up, do a job opening for say 5 days or whatever, so we're allowed to re-interview and grab some other people possibly. Limit the time. I don't want to get locked into not being able to get a headhunter if those interviews don't work out. I still want to be able to have that flexibility of hiring a, headhunter.
Well, the one thing that I think is clear that we did not put in the job description the last time was we actually were asking for 1 year's experience in the job, not folks that were wanting to get training. And if you recall, one of the candidates that was the second runner-up, we were looking at having to hire Mr. Greenwood to come in and mentor her through the job for a number of months. And as a council, we actually decided against doing that because it didn't much make sense financially for the city to spend $10,000 for 4 to 5 months to have somebody train the city manager on how to do the job. So
I don't remember that part.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't.
We can go back and look at the minutes because I'm pretty sure I talked to Mr. Greenwood submitted a proposal, and that proposal involved him having gas meals and so. This was training. This is the same person that apparently did the training for John O'Leary.
No, he was going to be doing the recruiting part. That was what he was going to do for 5 months. Not to mentor.
Yeah, I don't think there was any.
I remember that it was discussed.
I will point out, though, as a professional recruiter for 2 years and being very aware of this position, some of the issues we've run into is experience. I do not think 1 year of experience is enough for this position and what the city's going through. And with the finance issues and unfortunately division between council, we bring in someone that's never dealt with this before. Yes, we are a small city, and so it's kind of a step up for people going to bigger cities. But I think we need to do a hard look we need the experience. We need someone that can come in. It might take longer, but
I 100% support that. I just want to make sure that anyone that we bring to the city is able and has the skills and the background to actually help us continue to work through all of the issues that we have to address.
question, what if, with the proposal from Paul Wintergreen, it's per hour. What if, like you said, that the departments are kind of self-managing right now. If we had him per contract, what if we used his few hours for budget assistance as a previous city manager? His experience on budgeting and looking at that might be invaluable for the finance firm at that level. So he could work on that as well, but we use him hourly. I don't know if that would be a way where we could have a very experienced city manager helping with the budget on that end.
Though, if we drop this proposal, say minimum of 10 up, and then it's just making passes so that we're not locking ourselves in.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
Right?
$10,000 a month.
Yeah. But the one thing that, I would ask is I would have liked to have seen the job description that went through Mr. Garibaldi, because we were going to cut out some of those responsibilities.
And some of those,
Interim,
Yeah.
the interim
Oh, yeah.
that we got from Manzanita had a lot more work than we actually needed.
I looked at that one from Manzanita and I believe it was for the full recruitment for their city manager. I have not come across, I've had a couple cities say they were sending me an interim city manager job description. It's the full job description. I think that they just use that as the standard and then go from delete things from there to just depending on what projects they're needed on at that time. So it's kind of a bare bones, but here, because it could be the scope of any of those tasks or bullet points on there, you might have to touch on depending on what you're doing.
One of the things that I asked the council to take a look at
both the interim job that we had and also get a copy of the permanent job so that we as a council can make a decision based on the responsibility that we are going to be asking of this person.
This server with the job descriptions has the latest city manager one is from 2013. So I'm not sure if there was an accident with moving things over. When we weren't here, we had that happen in the county HR department too. If people start pulling things out of the server and not doing it correctly, they pull the original and don't replace it. So that's why Katie luckily sent me yesterday originals that she'd had from Juliet's recruitment. So I haven't got to those yet, but hopefully those are clean ones that I can start working on. And so I can get you clean copies so you can start going over certain things on there.
I'm wondering what Mr. Green had to look at in terms of in the list of things that he said he was willing to do. Some of it looked like things that we weren't going to require of him. So
Willing to do something though, and I'm requiring of you.
I agree. So that's why I was saying that we as a council need to decide what we're going to, what we need him to do. And does that drop his, does that drop his ability to come to work for the city of Deer, contract with the city of Garibaldi, based on so many hours? As I understand, with him doing this remotely and coming in just one day a week, then that $10,000 would probably drop to far less than that.
He's also willing to help recruit because I've seen a lot of small cities do have the interim help do the recruiting. So we could also use his wage for that and not look for a headhunter, but still follow the procedures. Because again, with my 2 years of 100% recruiting efforts and knowing what those agencies did, we can do the same and modify it. So, but again, is this a good use of his time? Do we need to use his expertise or any city interim for city functions and let the outside recruiters do their part? So I'm not quite sure on that.
Let me ask the council, does it make sense? Do we want to wait for that second person, or do we want to ask Mr. Green to come in and just have a discussion with us to see, what services he's willing to offer? And then by then we should have a more precise description of the work that we need him to do. Okay? More discussion?
Well, I think we should have something else to go by. And did the person indicate when they would have something to you?
I just spoke to them at 4 o'clock today.
Oh.
And yeah, so I just found out about him like a day or two ago. And so I called and was actually able to talk to him. So this is super new. But again, exciting because I've gotten so many people that, oh, sorry, just signed on with some city here and there. That I was like, oh, what? Oh, wow. Okay, great. There's also the, we saw that having Jay Marug be the supervisor or administrator for the city departments already running themselves, that type of thing, but having that central person as the interim type position. So maybe that would save us money as well, depending on how long we want to run something like that. So there's a few options so for you guys to decide on.
So I'm a little confused on Paul's survey because when he had originally been emailing with me, he sent over like a fee schedule for the wintergreen company. And the company principal fee was $110 an hour, but the admin clerical was 45. So there's definitely a range. So I think that if we were to hone down the expectations that we have, and then even maybe cut the hours and like say this many for this amount of stuff and this much for this amount of stuff, that number should drop pretty significantly.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. So I think he's just not sure, as we all are, of what exactly he would be dealing with. So if he did, much like we have the contract with the CPA firm, if it's a CPA issue, it's the higher rate. If it is just an administrative one, it's a middle rate. If it's just paperwork, it's a lower rate kind of thing. So maybe with him, it's the same, but it would be really good, I think, to have an interim city manager be able to help be an asset for the CPA firm to question about budgetary issues and line items that at a council level and staff level that we wouldn't have necessarily the correct answers for. So it'd be nice to get a city manager that does have the.
I think it's clear to me that we have to hone down the job description so that Mr. Wintergreen and anyone else knows exactly what the city's expectations are so that he can evaluate paying us, charging us the right amount of money. It's one of these things where, as I understand from other people that we should make sure that we have him for the amount of time that we need to get through the process to hire a permanent city manager. So if that's going to be 3 to 4 to 5 months, then
That's standard, yeah.
we need to make sure that Mr. Wintergreen or whomever is willing to work with us for that period of time.
It looks like the proposal that he sent said, that's either until the city manager is hired or December 31st, whichever one is working.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that is 4 months, at the long date. So it's probably going to be closer to 3.75, and then he's out for 2 weeks, at the end of September.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there are things there, but I do think having someone that has that level of expertise would be key, especially if you can trim the hours, count it in, get real tight into it, and then just very specifically set our expectations so that it keeps us kind of honed in, tightened in, and then from there, it would be helpful.
So what would folks recommend? So for the person that we just talked to today, we can wait a week or two before he gets back, and then I'm trying to figure out when.
Think a couple days, because again, the interim is usually an emergency, like speed is of the essence for this. And with the job description, I think that we would want to keep it almost the full one, because depending on what comes in or what comes in the mail or what comes in the door or calls, it could hit on any one of those topics. And it looks like from talking to these city managers and other cities and looking at the job postings, they don't trim down the job description for interim. There is not a job description. They keep using over and over and over the city manager one. So we can trim it down, but what if one of those things we trim down something that comes in the door?
And then ask for a proposal that breaks out rates by type of job. So that way we're at least getting commitment that it's not a base higher rate, but that is.
There are some lower rates for lower priority issues for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think
Yeah,
that
that'd be easy.
a compliment, like for both of them, honestly, I'd like itemized.
Yeah.
Itemized, like an itemized receipt, if that's really an itemized, if possible, because I know that all at least had the breakdown of like the company principal.
For engineering. Yeah. Something like that. Or even just line item per of high priority, low priority, or ease of how much skill is needed for
I mean,
each.
if you get billed for this, I'd also like to see an itemized breakdown of exactly how they're spending their hours.
Monthly,
We
yes,
wanna
for
make
sure.
that
Mhm.
Want to be
Mhm.
accountable and
Mhm.
also hold them accountable at the same time.
Yeah.
And have that transparency that I don't know that you always have.
So it sounds like I'm moving on to item 3. Councilor Finley got you a copy of the last job description.
Yes,
So if you
so
can get
I have
that out
those.
so we can kind of take a look at it.
Yep. And as soon as I get the proposal from the second gentleman, then I will send that out. Whose name is Kevin? So,
And, let's move on to number 4. It was recommended by the city attorney that the city of Garibaldi, in the absence of a city manager, that we have a senior manager take responsibility for serving as, Kylie mentioned, an administrator or a supervisor or whatever you decide to call it, just for temporary. I spoke to Jay about this, and he agreed to if Kylie
or if, Kelly or anybody, any of the employees have a question that, they can go ahead and go to him. And any of the council has something that we need Kylie or Sue to do, that we can go to Jay, and Jay would be responsible, acting almost in the role of a city manager. Don't bite me, Jay. In the role of a city manager to be that, conduit to, the city staff. Remember, as council and mayor, we have no authority over any of the city employees. So,
My only question would be, Jay, what is your availability? As far as, say, something comes up, during the workday and you're at work? So,
I'm only a phone call away, but, you know, as fire chief, I'm 24/7, 365. So, in my role as transportation and maintenance director, school district and fire chief, I can't do it alone. I have people. So if I'm not available, if I'm in a meeting, I call somebody. If it's an emergency, yeah, you got to break away. Just the way I treat it as a fire call, you got to go, you got to go. Type of thing. So that's kind of how I would treat it. Does that answer your question?
yes, because my only concern when I first saw that proposal was that you're not usually here till the afternoon, and usually Public Works is already gone by then. So I didn't know what kind of availability you had during the rest of the day. That was my only question.
Yeah, so I'm on salary there, and my superintendent, a boss, he knows the deal with the fire department. And so I'm flexible. I actually do a lot of phone messaging with Blake throughout the day. I'll break away for meetings when necessary. Just depends on what's going on. So you see me here in the afternoons, but I can be here, and I sometimes am. You just don't probably see me.
And he comes in at what, about 4 almost every day.
Yeah.
And so we meet up then and talk about what's going on and everything. So we can keep in touch several times a week or more. So.
So I was contemplating giving you guys a proposal to be interim and solely focusing on not necessarily recruitment, but the process of hiring a city manager. Not sure how quite that would work yet, but I could throw my name in the hat. It'd be a lot less inexpensive to the city. But I kind of agree with Katie, what she's saying about the job description, maybe having it not dumbed down, but the full job description. But I think my personal opinion, you as the council need to focus on getting that city manager hired as soon as possible. However, doing it right. Between Kylie and I, we have a lot of experience with the process of hiring. So through the fire department, through the school district, I've been on numerous fire chief panels, hiring fire chiefs. And no one person can do it. I mean, it takes a team to do it, and it's my belief you should do it right. So regardless, whoever is the interim, they need to do it right, but it needs to be done quick too.
yeah, I agree 100%. Thank you. So can I hear a motion, unless there's further discussion, for the council to formally appoint Jay Remote as the temporary staff, would you say administrator, is that okay? I don't want to supervisor,
Administrator.
Okay, is there a motion?
So
I'll
what-
make a motion to appoint Jay Maroon as the temporary staff supervisor.
A second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Jay. Very much appreciated by the council. Moving on to formal approval of Hurliman as the student finance agent. I said public questions at the end, if you don't mind, Mr. Lane. We want to move to the business. Okay, Kylie has arranged for Hurliman to serve as the city's finance agent. I was able to talk to Greg Clausen about the job, and I have confidence in his ability to kind of move the city forward with some things. But also, having spoken with him, I expressed to him the amount of experience that Linda Bay has been working on this process and the audits, and that she is a valuable asset to our efforts. And Mr. Clausen agreed, and Linda agreed to continue to work with them to make sure that the city audits stay on track. Recently, we found out from the USDA that because we needed to have 3 consecutive audits in place, that we were ineligible for loans and grants. So that's one of the reasons why I said that getting our audits in place and completed are priority for Garibaldi, because we can't continue to be denied grants and loans because our finances are still in this way. So we need to formally approve Hurliman as the city's finance agent. So is there a motion to do so?
I'll move that we use Hurliman CPA as the city finance agents, and this is the interim.
This is the interim. Is there a second? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Finally, in terms of things that we have to do, Linda Bay, during her presentation in August staff meeting, mentioned that in order for us to pay for all these contract services that we're looking at, and basically increase some of the salaries of staff, that we're going to have to do a supplemental budget. That's going to require us to have the help of the finance, Hurliman, Linda Bay, and an administrator. So hopefully we can have, whether it's Mr. Wintergreen or whomever in place, so that we can move forward with getting that part of the process. And the supplemental budget is not something that's easily done. We will have to reconvene the budget committee in order to move that forward, and that will be the budget committee and the council working on moving numbers around, make sure that we can continue to fund the salaries and these contracts that we're going to be requiring in order to move the city forward. So I just wanted to let the council know that that was something that we were going to have to schedule, and going to have to schedule it, I would think, by at least the middle of September at the latest, in order to move this money around. I do know that before she left, Juliet arranged a large amount of money to be put into payroll and a number of other things. Materials and services are the area of the budget that we have to look a serious look at. Also, where we can actually transfer funds from various other pockets, for lack of a better word, in order to make sure that the budget doesn't get too out of whack when we do that. Linda, did you want to say anything?
I'd like to say one couple of things. One, going back to the yes, I would like to. One, going back to the comment I had in the meeting, the council isn't allowed to contact. Heidi's not allowed to contact. Jay, do you have contacting authority?
Mhm.
He does now. Okay, so if he's got contacting authority, then you're okay. But, you have to have somebody to contact him. Yeah. So if you just transferred contacting authority to Jay, then I'm good with that. And as for the supplemental, I'm hoping to put together a list of things to go to the CPA with. And I also want to include all of you, because you may have some ideas about items within the budget that need to be changed. We want to get every change that you possibly can think of that needs to be done for this year, which of course we will fail on, because it's only human nature, we'll miss something, but we'll try. Try to get all of that stuff so that it makes sense And we can just do the supplemental real quickly. Hurliman should be able to do this. We just have to tell him what needs to be changed. We have to make sure that there's enough money left in admin to cover this new salary. So we have to do some analysis on salary, be able to leave enough behind. And then the rest of it, we put where we're gonna use it, contract services. Or if we're gonna hire somebody, then we leave some of it for that person's salary and we don't take it. But I really want you to be sure that you know at that point how much money you have to spend.
I think that is
Because
important.
the fire levy is the other thing that's in there. We found an error, in the revenue section, Council Finley found that. It's a journal entry correction. It is not, I'm sure it is not an AP audit cleanup account.
Right, that,
I'm sure it's the ARPA money coming in. Did you see anything else, Councilor Rick, when you were going through the financials last time?
Yes, specifically in the TRP section, especially where she had budgeted admin, pretty hefty percentages that are not allowed by the city ordinances. So those are gonna have to be fixed. And also I did get the actual amounts of TRP.
Okay.
And we have about, we can only use 40% in each category of the 6 categories in the ordinance. And so we could supplement that line item with 40%. And I
definitely around 90,000.
I have $95,340.80.
And
But
that can be used for the fire.
that, we have to vote on that, but that can be used for the fire department to fill in, so that's about, well, that's 95,000, we only have, what, 70 to go? 80?
Well, so
Right.
there's the ARPA money as well.
Right.
There was only a handful back that was left, but whatever was left, we had already voted.
That was about 33,000.
So
So we're still,
we agreed for the 33 to go to the fire department.
Right, okay,
so we're
so,
still about 55 short.
so then you have to think about how you're gonna come up with the 55. Unless
Exactly.
you're gonna let the fire department go, which I don't recommend.
Well, and that was something that came out of the newsletter. People thought that they were going to have a voice in that, in how that was going to.
Thought that we would have staff help us with that, but those staff is gone.
Are you talking about coming up with the other money?
We were talking
so you're-
about permanent.
I unfortunately am thinking about cuts to the budget. I am not thinking about other funding sources. I'm sorry. I just go straight to the jugular, you know, it's like, if you can't come up with another funding source, where in the heck are you gonna get the money to pay payroll? You have to cut something.
We still have that $75,000 feasibility study thing. We could rescind that, use that to fill the gap. We can always put it back when we're in a better financial. I know is that not.
The problem with that is
That's
the 75, the percentage, because that was supposed to come out of CRT, which would have been under the 40%, but we still, unless the ordinance changes, then.
So these are the kinds of decisions you guys need to think about before we do the supplemental.
Yes.
And these are,
And I would like to recommend or ask you if we could maybe do a workshop where we can bring the budget back out and like work with it, you know, like. put
That
that
makes a lot of sense.
now you're gonna eventually set up a budget committee meeting.
Can it be a budget committee workshop?
I don't see
I don't see why not.
I think that's a good idea.
So we could just sit around and jazz on it.
Brainstorm.
Because I think that if, and but I'm happy to work with you ahead of that to sort of come to the table with ideas, you know, because I live, as you've been in that a lot lately.
And I'm happy to work with anybody on ideas that, you know, would generate either, you know, other revenue sources or whatever. I mean, if we don't get I'm gonna come back to it, I'm sorry. We don't get the finances taken care of. If we don't figure that part out as well, then we can't get any grants. You know, it's like the grants that the USDA grants would have gone for renovating the Coast Guard structures. They were perfect for that, from what I understand. So it's like, wow, we've just lost this golden opportunity to do something really cool for the city. This is all about the city. We got to get the city back on its feet so that we can do these things that make sense and that push us forward, right, Shirley? Right.
We have to have a priority system.
Well,
What,
you know, and that's going to be something else to think about, because I would certainly suggest that as well. But on top of getting this finance stuff going, you got to understand what it is you want. You got 10 goals that you came up with, of which finance was like number 9. And from my standpoint, I'm sorry, it's number 1.
Mine, yeah.
It has to be done, or we can't get back to doing things the way we like to do them. We can't do anything. Thank you. I'm bragging.
No, I agree with you.
You know, it's
And
hard.
this is
Oh,
the
yeah.
point of having the finance firm and going hopefully a long-term finance firm that is separate from council goals, separate from anything, whoever the mayor is, whoever council members are at the time. This is something that they continue following the legal processes the entire time.
Mhm.
Well, one of the things that for the feasibility study, you know, I don't want that to get derailed because, you know, we sort of had let the Coast Guard know that we were serious about considering the building, and we were moving at a steady pace to get those, make a decision, and hopefully have a decision before the end of the year. Betsy Emery, who is the, one of the chief, Jeff Merkley's staff, sent me a list of finance monies, grants that are going to be available. I'm hoping to convince her that there might be one that we can get that feasibility study done. Again, the last thing I hate to see is the Coast Guard tell us that, you know, we waited for you to make a decision, and we're going to get rid of the plaque up and the building. I don't want that to happen. I don't think we want to include it.
Maybe we need to look at the feasibility study and see when the beginning is feasibility.
Yes.
Maybe.
And I don't even know how that amount got. And that was
Maybe we
dated,
just need to relook at that.
I mean, what is the actual cost of
Yeah.
having? I don't know where it's 75,000. Yeah,
Stricter engineering that did the walkthrough of the building and with the preservation and the structural, they were the structural engineers that actually reviewed the building and talked with the preservation. So that's why we,
Something with them.
I mean, I don't know where, who dialed in the 75 grand, maybe it's only 40 to 35.
So that's something that should be checked out, and
yes, there should be a document that shows that there was the estimate of what they were going to do on the work to determine whether or not Garibaldi can actually afford the building once it's repurposed. How much do the city or council or myself have to go out and raise to get that building done?
seems like it would be a really good center. Seems like it would have all of these possibilities to generate revenue.
Okay.
You know what, I know that Council Gordon couldn't be here, but maybe we could like pick 3 different times for potentially workshop, and then reach out to the budget committee and reach out to him, and maybe like if there's one for the board, like that one for us.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
we continue to kind of get progress forward from all in enforcement.
well, I think that once we kind of ID the interim city manager and because that is, you know, his expertise helping us get through the supplemental budget process is going to be valuable. I'm pretty sure whether it's Evergreen or Wicked Green or whoever, they'll have that experience in working with Hurliman and the budget.
And possibly even the community of auditors.
Yes,
Mhm.
I agree.
We've already contacted Acuity so that they could be looped in with the CPAs and get access to everything and sent the list that you brought. I've already uploaded that to the Dropbox. And so we're doing all of the background things that we need to do so that they can have access to all the information they need to do a deep dive and get to know what's going on. And I already uploaded the budget that you guys just did. And so we can start piling information in there so they know what they need to start looking for. And they said that they can contact who used to do our payroll. 80, yeah. So they can contact them and get access to the information, even if we're not using them anymore. So they said, they're like, oh yeah, that's not, yeah.
That's a whole bunch of material for the current audit. We haven't been able to find it.
Mhm.
Continue the audit.
Exactly. So yeah, it wasn't even a blip on there. They're like, oh yeah, no problem with that. And we're like, okay, great, thanks.
So with that said, knowing you want to have meetings on the middle of September, I understand it's like obviously not next week, but we like stop the dates for the week after that and the week after that. Right, so 2 weeks out, I just don't want to get stuff in, work at
Yeah.
the same time.
So, no work there. No, it's not. It's perfect.
Okay, so we're looking in September.
We got Labor Day next weekend. Sorry, but we have
That's
Labor
great.
Day next weekend.
Okay. And so where are we at then so we're talking interim. Okay, so where are we at then on going through the goals on hiring a city manager? We're waiting for a headhunter still or?
I need to have a few minutes I think that as soon as we do decide on the interim, then that will, once I'm done with that, then I start the RFP for the process. At the meantime, I've already contacted three to start their proposals. So so those can almost overlap. Here's the RFP, here's the proposals that they're already starting on. Get that. We've already got the one from Prothman. So I'll be meeting with HR Annie. And so that those will be met, and then we can go over those and see which one's the best and make sure the guarantees are there that we need.
Just got the Word document, job description I found in my email.
Yeah.
So I have a note
So-
that you're gonna send an updated job description for us.
Mhm.
But we do need to approve that before you can proceed, right? So.
For the final. So we want to make sure that we have that dialed down before, not necessarily a headhunter, but before for selecting it. But once we have the one we select based on their terms, then we want to make sure that what they put out there is the one that, and we put on our website and what we,
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask you, because I don't know how this goes. I know they go out and, do all the work basically, but
Mhm.
there's still a basic job posting for that position that we do as well, or?
yeah, we'll put it on our end, we'll put it on League of Oregon Cities, which is kind of the go-to. It's like the Indeed for
Right,
government.
okay, so
And then it'll also go on our website.
Okay, that's
Indeed
fine.
picks it up off our website, so
Okay,
which is cool.
okay.
We
So,
also have the budget.
yeah, and they'll also send mailings out to all the other cities to see if there's if we could steal somebody's city manager, if they're interested in moving to the coast, that type of thing. So,
Okay,
yeah.
I was wanna know. Okay,
Yep. And then they'll also do the initial interviews. Once they get applications, they'll filter the applications. So they're the ones that spend the time making sure it's like, okay, someone's just it doesn't match what we're looking for. Where we're looking for more experienced, we're not getting someone that has never done it before. They'll filter that out so that by the time they find a good candidate, if they're excited about it, they'll let us know immediately if somebody looks great. So I think that'll save a lot of time. Otherwise, if we want to keep it in-house, I'm used to doing it as well. So it's just a process, which I'm
So
used to
does
doing.
everyone want to take a look at their calendar for September and look at, we have a council meeting on the 19th, so would we be looking at a week before in terms of having that?
Yeah, and then on the budget, so this is your thing, and then I know you're on it, and Carl, you have your calendar too.
Always.
Except when you're on a boat.
On Peru.
middle of the ocean. Give us a date.
Cool. I just wanted to.
So with the 14th, too late or too early?
I think that's a little late.
When would you suggest?
For the, you're talking about the budget committee.
Yeah, well, we had to have the interim here in order to have the budget. So that's why I'm thinking that if we had the interim in place by, say, no later than the month, folks,
Ideally.
yeah.
So, but that would also mean we would need to potentially earmark a spot for a special meeting that week too, so we might as well do that now as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
September 9th for budget.
September 9th for,
for the interim,
not the latest.
yes. And then we can do, let's say, the 14th.
September 9th is a Friday. What about the 7th?
I'm just not between 9 AM and 12 PM.
No. Well, I'm gonna have to look at.
Is that
I'm gonna be out of town.
That's after Labor Day, right on it.
Mhm. Labor Day is the
That's
5th.
the Wednesday, yeah, I'm out of town that entire week.
Can you do it on Zoom?
Yeah, I can do, well, I'm gonna be in Kansas. Maybe I can.
So, I mean, you have a forum.
If you have a forum, yeah, I don't have to be here, I agree. Yeah, if you have the interim here, it's not critical that I'd like to, but it's not critical.
Okay,
What about the 7th?
okay, are we on back to September
Let's,
7th?
yeah, let's look at exactly what we're talking about. So
Okay.
the interim, we're looking at having, say, for example, Mr. Green or the other candidate on the 7th, and then make a decision that day on the 7th, or do we make a decision on the 9th? And then when do we have the budget committee after we have?
I thought we were just doing proposals and not actually interviewing.
Yeah, it's kind of getting confusing.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll be sending the proposal that we get from if we receive from, the gentleman from today, as soon as I get it. So I think that I should have that by tomorrow, Friday, when, Paul got us one very quickly. So, if not, I'll call him and let him know that we need it ASAP. So we should have that by Monday. Assume we have it by
So we
Monday.
can make a decision
Yeah,
on the 2nd.
Or
by the end of next week, I would say you should have the two proposals to look at to be able to compare in, or even midweek.
Well, I did take Friday off and today first, so I can do that smash cake.
So we're talking about the 2nd.
okay, so that's Labor Day weekend.
But that's Labor Day.
That's Labor Day.
Yeah.
Well, how about the 31st? Next Wednesday.
And I could tell him that we need a proposal by, and give you, like a day or two to look it over. And does that work for you guys?
Like earlier, like.
Can we vote?
Yeah.
Earlier for me, because I have to get out of town.
Okay, so August 31st, we're doing the interim stuff.
Yeah.
And then
Compare
are we
proposal
still on the
meeting.
14th Budget, or are we moving that too?
No, and if we do,
I would like to have multiple dates because Whitey isn't here and we need to reach out to the consumers, like there's more people that we would have to coordinate. So it'd be nice to have two.
Okay, I don't care, just,
Yeah.
just give me some dates there, I don't know what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna show up and.
And if it's a workshop, that doesn't have to be the actual meeting itself. So
Yeah.
we can do a workshop and if you wanted to sit in your notes ahead of time, I
That
can
works.
bring them and we can do that week of the after the.
okay, so minus me, what date would the council members be
I
looking at?
don't have a calendar. Just tell me something, I don't have a calendar.
You don't have one?
So we have August 31st, well, I'm using my phone for. So August 31st for the interim stuff.
Mhm.
Now we're talking about the budget workshop,
Yeah, the budget workshop, we're looking at.
and what times are we talking about?
Depends on the day.
Okay.
I think we said 3:30 on August 31st, or to compare the interim proposals.
3:30.
Jay, would
And-
you be available?
August 31st.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the workshop is September, what,
7th.
7th?
Guys,
What time? It's a workshop, so I don't know.
I can do
Three?
3:30.
Can we do 3 o'clock?
We can bring that, like I said, I would love to, like, make sure the flight is available. Or if it's a word.
Proposal, I mean,
So let's propose 3 p.m. and then maybe like the 8th, there's like the day after, like, I think it's usually the Thursday, that stuff, or one of the.
I can never remember. I think it's what, I think you have stuff on,
One of those days.
yeah.
So you're talking about 2 days in a row for 7 and 8?
Or.
Okay, or, oh, I see,
Yeah.
so right, or.
Yeah.
Or not.
So the 7th or the 8th at 3 o'clock?
yeah,
No, not 3 o'clock.
Okay, so
Okay.
September 8th, what time? Do
4:30.
okay,
All right.
that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's for the budget.
Linda and Ola and Carl, are those dates favorable to you? So we can, with your preference to be for those dates.
I'm gonna go back and check my calendar.
I'll email
So
these
do the
dates to
7th,
everybody
3 o'clock,
in times.
Don't forget them.
Yeah, no, I got them. September 14th, what was the time for that?
Oh, that would be, but that would be coordinating with the actual, like, CPA firm, right? That would be the proper budget meeting.
Would that be the proper or not a workshop?
Yeah,
Okay,
so
so
the
this is
14th
proper budget. Okay.
14th would be proper budget. Here. Oh, I'm important. I lied. So I feel the 13th.
Okay, I'll put it out there and see what we can all agree on. 13th or 15th.
I'm actually golden, really afternoon that day too. But less golden on
Okay,
Are we having?
for the official.
we're doing it or.
Budget meeting. With
Okay,
the CPA firm and with.
and then.
Is that
Budget meeting, September 15th,
Or
13th, what time?
I'm good.
what are the other ones?
I think that we need to consider the time for Hurliman.
So probably
Whatever's
3.
convenient.
Yeah. Here,
Yeah.
they're here.
I have.
Mhm.
What is it?
Nothing that day after like noon, literally 12 o'clock. So.
We did 3 o'clock.
Would that,
I'm okay with that.
yeah,
I
okay,
don't have any
We'll
meetings.
pencil that in.
yeah.
So,
So we'll look at the 13th and the 15th, we'll look at the 13th and 15th, and the time will be based on the availability of Hurliman and so the budget meeting. All right, finally, public comment, Mr. Wayne, comment? Anyone else?
yeah, wait, so Tim, at the council meeting, Blake, told Blake, we gotta address the credit card thing, because 3 credit cards, if you use them, they're only getting 2,500 a piece per entity. Especially going in the fire season, because we have enough. Yeah, these are credit cards, so I think, Judy, did you say you talked to the bank, what was the deal with the rules or something? Was there some deal with the cards? I don't know if we need to, I know we've got 3 cards feeding into one account.
Right.
With only a limit of 7,500, that's giving everybody 2,500. Is there some reason they can't each have their own credit card account? Like they all have their own with $7,500.
That's what I would like.
Well, no, I mean, because in that way, and then I don't know if it would be helpful too, that I don't think they pay more than once a month on this, so I don't know if that's part of the problem is we're not. That way, if we should pay it like every couple of weeks or something, and if it's one credit card account for the fire department with their own cards, one for public works, one for admin, then it's still gonna be accounting will be a lot easier, I would think, too.
I agree. In fact, one of
misconceptions was when we were doing that 5,000 versus 7,500, it wasn't clear that we were talking about just one credit card.
Right.
That right there was
Yeah.
kind of spooky.
Right.
And when the debacle with Garibaldi Day happened, and the credit cards were all maxed, the one credit card was maxed out.
That's only $2,500 is all they could do on their card.
And we discussed with, Carl and I did discuss, and then also with, Joseph, our IT company. He has set up so many things for our Outlook accounts and these monthly reoccurring bills. We need, and I have a proposal that I submitted a couple, at the last meeting. But again, we have an administrative card with a larger limit so that no matter what's going on with those credit cards, the administrative one stays in the safe that is just for when we do Outlook, when we do Adobe, when we do all these reoccurring, our phones are on reoccurring non-contract payments on that card. So if we had it all on one credit card that stays safe, no matter what's going on with, if they're on fire for a long time and using their card a lot, ours is still, because I had to pay for our Adobe, our Microsoft Outlook accounts on my own personal credit card because it was maxed out. The city's was maxed out. So again, we need to have a Garibaldi events credit card just so that everything that we do for that is all accountable on the one and has a, like, unfortunately it needs to be like $20,000 or $30,000 limit so that everything starting in January and on and on is all on that, because towards the end, when the deposits start coming due, they start charging, the band starts charging, bam, and these are like $3,000 hits each time. It's like, so it's expensive. Yeah. And I can talk, I already have to talk to the bank about setting up, we're already on, Sue and I are already on the bank as representatives, but there's different levels of control that their rep just told us today is like, get this set up and then anybody can, of the two of you, whoever's in the office can make a payment, can make some changes, but not others. There's an authorized officer. That's a different level. That would be the city manager, that type of thing. So I think we do need to just reevaluate what we can do with our credit cards because it's been done for so long.
So we can.
Yeah.
Give each one of them their own credit card.
I think we just tell them what we need them to do and then they figure it out on what their tools. Yeah.
And I would
Yeah.
think that it's
Perfect.
gonna make accounting way easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
So,
also another thing, some of the larger items,
mhm.
according to our city code, we can't split, like, say if a truck needs to be picked up, I think there needs to be a plan in place where somebody would let somebody in the finance area know that, hey, we have a truck that broke down, it's an emergency, we need to get it fixed, it should be done in 3 days, and you cut a check.
Yeah.
You don't use a credit card for that, you cut a check.
Yeah,
That's why
yeah.
I think that's also getting us into a little
Mhm.
bit of trouble if we're bypassing the checks and
Mhm.
not using a check instead of just running up the
Yeah,
card.
no, if you can invoice the city for things, definitely. But again, but a lot of things for the events, because they're one-offs, we don't have accounts with them. They're not going to set up a corporate account for a one-time, 1 year thing. Then yeah, definitely for the credit cards.
We already.
Yeah,
So you send a chance.
yeah. So I think that would be a really good, so
we need to
75 for
make-
each.
So we need to make a motion. Oh, the
Yeah.
resolution.
And I'll get I'll get some information from the Umpqua
Okay.
Bank and see what, so maybe they can draw up like a business plan or something for this and have a line item of
Good.
what we're doing. So I'll talk to them because I need to anyways.
Well, and at the transportation district, we always have copies. Every month we get copies of the credit card statement.
Mhm.
So we know who's spending what where.
Mhm.
So
Oh, you can
That
have
would be
copies of
nice.
whatever you want.
that would be nice to have in the packet.
Yeah.
And then ahead of the budget workshop, would it be possible to explore things like Outlook with you, or we could see what would it cost if we paid for a year?
Oh, yeah, that would be better.
Right,
We're also
so
all
maybe
on
like-
home Outlook versions, not
Yeah,
business
maybe-
Outlook. So that's going to be,
Like, all right, this thing tends to go on subscription and you usually get extra
Whatever we want, yes, I think that annual subscriptions are always cheaper. So, Joseph has already been told as soon as that credit card cleared that we're supposed to, with this fiscal year, go to the professional 1-year Adobe, but it will cost, I think he said about $1,200 for all office or all of the city accounts to go to the official professional level ones they were supposed to be, not the home versions to save money.
So in
yeah.
summary, we as council will be looking at a resolution to adopt credit cards for public works, the fire department, and the public works and the admin staff, with a limit of, let's say, $5,000 per credit card. Yes.
Going back. Question, this is not on the credit card matter, but I'm. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Thinking with Jay being hired to be. And
To the mic.
Oh. What do I?
It's on.
It's on, you gotta get right on.
Oh, okay.
You have to get right up to it.
It's like eating an ice cream cone. Make it your friend.
Jay has a position and title. Now, is there a job description to know what he is expected to do and if he has performed it? And what will be his pay for doing this duty? And what part of the budget will it come out of to pay him? I'm kind of looking at Linda. Is that something she might be interested in?
Oh, I'm interested in it, that's for sure.
So that's my question. Same with Hurliman. What are you expecting this firm to do or this individual to do? You have a job description written up, you know if he has accomplished that. And what
It's
is
a
the pay?
contract. Yeah, it's
It is
not,
under contract.
it's with a firm. It's with, yeah, we did the special procurement motion for that last, for financial services.
You do have a line item in our budget for it, however, it's technically, so we're actually gonna have to visit that when we do.
What end are you talking about, Jay or Hurliman?
Hurliman. So for Hurliman, auditing and accounting services, there is a line item for it, but we will need to add money to it to accommodate, and so we'll be shuffling essentially from the assistant city manager's salary. We'll be having to pull out of that to put into the we need contracted services line item as well, but that's different.
But that's the budgetary process,
Yeah.
it needs supplemental.
That's why we,
Yeah.
so that's why
We're working on that.
Well, in
Yeah.
the meantime, then. In the meantime? What?
So for now, we already have an auditing and accounting services line item. And so, because acuity also comes out of that, essentially what we need to do is make sure that before they bill it, so essentially the supplemental budget would be before they bill it, like for their full amount, which has not occurred yet. We have the money in there, it's technically earmarked in the correct manner. We just need to make sure we get more money in there before the bill comes.
The supplemental.
So we're clear, as far as the legality, though, we've got to like move quickly to and pull the money out of the salary from the assistant city manager and make sure that that gets correct.
What about the city manager?
Well, we need to keep some of that for the next, so we need to be careful with what we're spending out of what that budget is supposed to be. It could be like maybe a paycheck or two, but the next, we need to also have enough to hire another city manager.
Right.
So yeah, so it's.
And interim.
Yeah, and interim, so.
And Patty, what did you say about Jay and contract and intermittent or something?
I didn't say Jay, that was for the Hurliman,
What
for
about
the contract.
Jay then? See, under-
Jay's doing it for free.
What is, okay, if he's doing it for free, what is he doing?
He's not doing it for free, he's doing it to make sure he gets paid.
Mhm.
Well, whether he gets paid or not, what is he doing? That's what I'm trying to say.
It's-
I know, but is that in writing?
Now authorized after the contract.
Well, what we probably do with the resolution to appoint him pro tem, because I don't believe the fire chief or a supervisor has contracting powers, but we need him pro tem until we get an interim so that we can sign a contract. Does that make sense?
That's what I've been saying. You said that the supervisory role, he has contracting authority. He needs contracting authority to do
So
whatever he
we
wants to
need
do.
to do a resolution. We'll need to do a resolution to appoint him.
Right, and then approval of-
It's, actually, we're doing this backwards. You need to have a resolution in place to make a formal designation, so that if somebody comes back in 2 years and says, who's this Jay guy? You know, he signed a contract for the interim city manager. In order to give him that authority, we probably need to do it formally. Jay, do you have a problem with that?
Can't the city council appoint an interim city manager? Does not through, is appointing needed for a resolution?
I believe appointment is direct term or appointing an interim city manager.
So, yeah,
And so you should be able to simply appoint.
yeah, without a resolution.
Appoint Jay and.
How much money is it gonna cost? That's, that's the key. That's the key, because right now we don't have anybody that's authorized except us.
Well, Rockaway made their interim, it was their
Well,
public
no.
works director. They made, in that when their city manager, I think, got very sick. So I'm not sure, is there this is new for all of us.
Yeah, it is new. I thought that.
Yeah,
Point,
yeah.
interim or pro tem or whatever.
I believe
I
it's
don't
true.
believe there's
Yeah. Yeah.
requirement of resolution,
Okay,
but that's going back, and that's something that we have to ask the city attorney, for an opinion. I would do that.
What did you do with, Lori, Longfellow? When she was acting as, because I looked in the minutes and she was acting as an, acting city manager.
She actually refused to be the interim
Hmm.
city manager, because she, for whatever reason, and so she.
So
acted-
there was never any,
There was nothing
okay.
ever official.
okay,
She
because,
said she did not want that.
Well, Jeff was pro tem for a while and he was just appointed.
yeah, I can check the resolutions. Yeah, I could check the resolution book too, because it would, if we made a resolution, it's in there, but I'm not sure. Usually resolutions, it seems like for the city are financial, moving funds, that type of thing.
they're administrative.
Mhm.
Ordinances are codes and
Yeah.
rules, but yeah, resolutions are
Yeah, I-
administrative stuff.
Don't know if we've done resolutions for appointing city managers.
So do I hear a motion to appoint, Jay David? Yes.
Yeah, what I.
Yeah, it's on.
Is that the light?
Yeah, that's all.
Like tape. I think suggest you should look at your city charter.
Mhm.
And the city charter where interim manager is required, in the absence of the city manager. And there plays out, I believe, that you make an appointment.
No, I
Yeah,
agree
that's
with
what it
you, Dave.
says. Yeah, and usually it's the assistant city manager, or finance officer that is the next to step in, and that's what it says in all the job descriptions, like 3 different times.
The charter
And so it would then.
Yeah, and it doesn't say anything if you don't have either of those positions. It says nothing about what the next third person would be. So then it's a point. Yeah,
So the point.
yeah.
We did not word it exactly as manager pro tem.
You read the charter?
So
It's interim, isn't it? Not pro tem?
it's pro tem, I think. in the-
Pro tem and interim are synonyms, but pro tem is the official way to describe it. Like,
But how does the charter read?
that's what I said, pro tem.
Mhm.
Then
Interim is, I guess, defined version.
That's what they have on League of Oregon Cities and
We can turn to the agency.
mhm.
But let's go with pro tem. so we don't confuse Jay with, Wintergreen or anybody else. So, that being said, is there a motion to appoint Jay Brewer as the pro tem city manager?
I believe we can amend our first motion.
I make a motion to amend our first motion.
Second,
Send it.
send it. All in favor, say aye.
Okay, who seconded it?
Thank you.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved. Any other business?
Okay, so you rescinded?
No.
No, we amended it. You can amend it in the.
And, you know, I just wanted to clarify, that these credit cards,
That the department has are, the money is in their budget. And so they know how much money they have to put on that credit card. That's an important fact. It's their responsibility to stay within the bounds of their budget. That's their responsibility. So I feel that with that being said, that they need to have the flexibility. But I do agree that it's important that if you have enough time, you better come in and request a check. Because 2 signers will have to sign it, but that's much faster. You're not gonna have to wait a month for your money. You just have to have the availability of 2 signers.
Well, we do that now.
And it's usually based on, unfortunately, what the type of business is. So, but yeah, we prefer to get an invoice so it can go through the accounting process and then there's backup and everything. So, but for like Amazon purchases, normal like supplies, that type of thing. And some of the places do, if you use your credit card, they'll add a percentage on. So at that point, that's when I'm like, hey, can we, make an account, corporate account or something that, so we do try to not use those if we can,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Based on,
documentation, checks are definitely those.
based on the things myself, Finley, and for Horseman, we all have, the 3 of us have signing authority, and each check has to be signed by either the city manager, myself, and if I'm unavailable, then the counselor, Finley, or counselor.
so we have 2 people that are around
Yeah,
all
three.
the time, which is,
Mhm.
that's a very important fact. The signers have to be available.
The
Yeah.
signers have to be available.
It's been like
You have a
that.
lot of vacation, so we need to make sure
Well,
that there are people around here
And
that are available to sign a check.
Yeah, I
I
sign,
bet you do.
every Thursday or Friday, I'm signing checks.
the new firm is going to set up a mid-month, end of month batching again, like we used to. So you will go, signers will have a scheduled time to come in or day every month or 2 to come in so that we will know ahead of time if you're on vacation or something, we'll have the 3rd person in place to come in. So it won't just be drop in all the time and sign checks here and there. So we're going to have a much more clear cut defined process for check cutting and printing and signing.
If there's any other discussion by the council, this meeting stands adjourned at 7:15. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.